As I said earlier, I'm Lauralei Heggie. I'm from HRAI, which is the Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Institute of Canada. I really appreciate a few minutes of your time. I'll try to get through this quickly because I know I am standing between you and lunch, and I didn't think to put any cute cat photos in my presentation. So I'm really just excited to tell you a little bit about what HRAI is, what we do, how we help the HVACR industry in particular. Clearly, that's a big component of all the work that you do on a regular basis. And if nothing else, you'll know a little bit more about us and where to find us and how we might be able to help you with some of the initiatives that you have underway. So like I said, I'll try to go quickly. It's interesting, we've got a lot of alignment between the Clean Air Partnership and what your goals and your mission is and what HRAI is trying to do in this space as well. So we're trying to foster an HVACR industry that's progressive, that thinks about quality first. I think that's really important, as well as being energy efficient and environmentally responsible. We we work with governments and our members, of course, and the energy sector to provide leadership across the industry through our communications, through our advocacy efforts, and through training and education opportunities, which I'll talk about in a minute. Just quickly, we try to be the voice of the industry. I'll talk about our member base in a minute, but we try to reflect the needs of the industry through everything that we do. We work hard to be recognized as a leader in the climate crisis and how we can help move the industry along to accelerate the pathway to net zero. I don't have to tell the people in this room that HVAC and buildings and homes make up a significant portion of those greenhouse gas emissions, and anything that we can do to accelerate the process can help us all reach our goals as quickly as possible. Workforce development is another issue that's pretty important for us. When you think about what we've been doing for the past 20 or 30 years, high efficiency furnaces, forced air, we need an industry that can make the shift to other technologies. And so we see that as one of our roles of trying to help the industry make those shifts as much as we can. And we try to be leaders, obviously, in the space around best practices and trends that are happening. Just a little bit about did I lose? Oh, there we go. Sorry. The association itself, we've been in business for 50 years. How many people know HRAI? Maybe that's a good question to ask. Okay, not too bad, maybe about a third. So we've been in business for over 50 years. We have a very interesting model in terms of industry associations because we have the whole supply chain under one association. So we have manufacturers, wholesalers, contractors, as well as what we call associate members in the HVACR space. Most associations only focus on one or two of those verticals. So this really puts us in a unique position to bring those parties together in a more efficient way, to help support our members, to vet ideas, to look at trends and technologies and take those ideas from our members back to government, for example, or to other stakeholders. So it's really fun to watch when you bring that group of people together. The energy and the way that ideas evolve is really fascinating. So we're lucky to have that structure, I guess. And some of our associate members are municipalities. Some of you are in this room who are members of HRAI, which we greatly appreciate. We do represent about 1,200 member companies, 100,000 employees. Our membership base is the company. Once the company joins, all employees of that company are considered members of HRAI. So if a municipality joins our membership as an associate member, any employee can take advantage of the benefits, take a training course, for example, and get a discount through our association. So we focus mostly on advocacy and government relations. We focus on training, communications about what's happening in the space, what's happening in the future in the space. You may have heard of CMPX. It is the largest mechanicals and plumbing expo in Canada. We own that and manage it. It happens every second year. So the next one is March 2024. We have over 500 exhibitors at that conference or at that trade show generally, and between 12 and 16,000 people who go through the doors over the course of the 3 days. So it's a great place to go to learn about what's happening in the space and interact with some of the major players. We also have an environmental stewardship program, 2 of them actually, that we manage. One is the Refrigerant Management Canada, just what it sounds like. We have a program where we recover, recycle, or dispose of halocarbon refrigerants. We also have a thermostat recovery program for thermostats that still contain mercury. We do safe disposal of those. Both of those programs are actually industry funded. Our members fund those programs, which have a significant impact on the environment. We're really proud of those programs that we manage. We're a small team trying to do a lot of work. So we are very much believe in the collaborative approach to getting things done. These are just some of the partners that we have relationships with. For example, HRAI, they're a commercial refrigeration association. Most of our members are not unionized. All of their members are. So we have a joint agreement with them. Actually, our Ontario government relations specialist is paid 50% by them and 50% by us, so that when we're having conversations, we really are reflecting the broader industry. Okay. I brought these. I'll leave these here if you want to grab one. As I said earlier, if you look at our mission and our vision, we're really trying to put a stake in the sand about helping our industry help Canada solve our climate change challenges. So we've actually issued a climate change statement. It's on the postcard if you want to take one on your way out. This industry has a lot of impact, a lot of knowledge. We have the technology and the expertise to help move these goals forward. So our climate change statement is all about, like I said, a stake in the sand and trying to help more of our members make that transition to a net zero world. We've done a few things around events related to our climate change statement. This past February, we ran 2 Perspectives in Climate Change web events. So we had, dinner and a panel discussion. Several municipalities participated. What we did is 2 panels at each event, one that were industry representatives and one that was government and other key stakeholders. It was very interesting to see sort of the difference in approach and the conversation that came out of it that, really helped to move people forward. So we did one in BC and one in Ontario. We are a national based organization. So we did those 2. They were a great success. We also launched the first heat pump symposium. It was in early April. This was an idea that came from one of our members. We have an emerging technologies committee, which is fabulous. Yes. Yeah. It's a really great committee trying to think about the future. And so somebody came up with this idea and we ran with it, and it sold out, I think, in the blink of an eye. We could barely keep up with it. More than 600 attendees. That says a wait list of 100, but I think it actually ended up being more like a wait list of 250. We just couldn't accommodate the people who wanted to come. We even rejigged the floor plan to try to get more people in. It was just, you know, a very nice problem to have for sure, as they say. We're hoping to do more of these in the future. It's a great opportunity. We had 25 speakers, you know, lots of topics, and everybody's learning and trying to figure this out. So we're really proud to be able to facilitate those kind of conversations and make connections with the people in the industry who can help you with your goals.
If I can just give you guys a shout out for that heat pump symposium, that was fantastic. And it was just so wonderful to see it sold out so quickly. Like it made me so happy.
We were happy too. That's a much easier problem to deal with than the alternative, but thank you for that, Gabby. Appreciate it. Just very quickly, I'm not going to say much here, except that we do work with all levels of government, federal, provincial, and municipal. Municipal is a little bit more of a challenge for us. I'll be totally blunt. There are a lot of you and not a lot of us. So it's definitely a challenge to be able to find those opportunities to connect with municipalities. So that's why I love this, this opportunity to chat with you and potentially to work with this group, as opposed to sort of one by one by one. You know, municipalities are complex organizations, and there's lots of elements and lots of places where HRAI can probably help you. But it's a challenge for us, just, you know, resource wise. So you know, a couple of the things we've worked on with some of the municipalities, generally speaking, if you're a member of HRAI, that's usually where we start when we have some of these initiatives. So I think I mentioned earlier, we had some representation at our climate change events. Those participants were mostly from HRAI member municipalities. We also attended the FCM conference earlier this year, which was a great opportunity to connect. And we also have developed a few municipalities sort of got together and helped us fund a project. We developed a heat pump sales training course. Again, back to my point about trying to help the industry make the transition. You know, if you're selling a furnace and you've been doing that for a long time and that works really well, there's a whole change management piece to getting people to think about selling a heat pump, for example. So that's what that course is all about. And that was funded by some municipalities who I believe are part of this group. So those are just, you know, a couple of examples of ways we work with municipalities, you know, where our mutual goals can be moved forward. I'm gonna actually, oh, I didn't know this one had builds. Let me just do this. Whenever we're meeting with anyone from government, we always talk about this, and I'll just take 1 minute because I think it's just about perspective. As we try to represent the industry and what they need in terms of decarbonization, we've identified 4 buckets that need to be considered. And what tends to happen is we focus a lot on the first one, which is market stimulus. Can we get grants? Can we get loans and rebates? And those are all great. But without some of the other elements, they don't necessarily translate to the outcomes that we want. So this is just based on our experience over the past few years, especially working with the Greener Homes program. We also should be thinking about consumer awareness and how we get consumers informed and knowledgeable and asking the right questions. Also, beyond consumers, of course, you know, building managers and that sort of audience of people. Making sure that the supply chain's working. If we build programs and there's no inventory, the programs can't be a success. So this is a spot where HRAI can really come in and try to help facilitate the execution of programs to make sure that they're a success. And I already spoke about workforce development, but that's the 4th piece that we see in this puzzle that, you know, if we're collaborating and working together, we should be thinking about all of these things. This is almost my last slide, second last slide. We do, a big part of HRAI is our training division. We have 13 technical courses where people can earn certifications. These are all post-trades training. So you need to already have your license. You need to have some solid knowledge and understanding, or be an engineer, for example. These courses are all about leveling up in your career. So for example, we do heat loss, heat gain training. You might know how to do it on a software package, but we teach you how to do it by hand so that you understand how you get there and why you get there and why it's important to understand those calculations and what they mean. And we have a residential and a commercial version of that. We have hydronics courses and commissioning courses, and all of it is about codes and standards. In fact, one of our courses, which is a residential course, maybe not as relevant to this group, but it's residential air system design. We're actually the de facto standard in Canada. We are referenced in building code. The program that we have developed is referenced in building code, and we teach that course as well. Again, all about making sure that we're doing quality work. And of course, you know, if you do these things right, that certainly helps with the net zero goals. I just want to talk about building officials for a second, because that's maybe more relevant from a training perspective for municipalities. In many instances, our training is recognized by building officials. It's one of the reasons we encourage building officials to take some training from us as well. So we have a couple of courses that are specifically dedicated to building officials and understanding, for example, how to inspect air and ground source heat pumps. It's a different art form, and we teach building officials some tips and tricks around that. And we also teach, you know, what building codes do you need to understand related to HVAC. So we've got a wide variety, and of course, members get a discount on all of our training. Jody?
Thank you. When you're mentioning residential, it made me think of some municipalities have programs in which they are encouraging homeowners to take advantage of heat pumps. Is
Yes.
there some information that you would encourage us to either put on the website, or have people who are applying for maybe funding or information through the municipality to pass along to a homeowner so that they can have a sense of awareness when choosing a contractor? Could we have some of that information?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I should have mentioned this earlier. We're kind of picky about our members. We don't just let anyone join. There's a process you have to go through. And from the contractor perspective, we have a contractor locator, which is very helpful for homeowners and building owners. All of our contractors are vetted. If you want to say that you can install an air conditioner, then we want to see your refrigeration ticket. And if we don't see it, then you can't be a member. So there's, you know, trade licenses, insurance, WSIB, there's a whole bunch of hoops to jump through. And then also on top of that, you have to be approved by our board. So one thing that I would highly encourage all municipalities to do is link to our contractor locator. Those are vetted contractors who, you know, for the most part, you know, we're not there inspecting the work they do, but we've done the work up front to say these are quality, reliable contractors that you could connect with. So that's one that I would always encourage. And we're working on, but we're not quite there yet, on maybe a designation. Right now we're calling it a heat pump champion. I don't know if that's a good term for it or not, but you know, a contractor can say that they'll work on or propose heat pumps, but when they get to the door, it doesn't always translate. So we want to find a way to highlight those contractors, both residential and commercial, that do that kind of work that we're looking for to help move the industry toward these goals. So I think I'll wrap it up there. I wanted to make sure everybody sort of had actually, I've got one more slide here. This, from the perspective of municipalities, maybe not specifically corporate energy advisors, but or energy managers, sorry. But just in general, municipalities can benefit from being part of HRAI. Like I said, we've got vetted contractors that you can rely on. We've got the whole supply chain. If you have an idea, if you have a question, we can very easily connect you with people who can really make a difference in your projects. I would really encourage everyone in the room, at the very least, sign up for our newsletter. There's a ton of information about what's happening in the space. There's lots to learn. And, you know, this is a big part of the things that you are working on. And, you know, hopefully it stimulates some ideas, and you know where to go if you have deeper questions that we can help you with or connect you with the right folks. So with that, I hope that was helpful. You learned a little bit about what we do in the space. And are there any other questions?
In regards to training, do you offer custom scheduling? We're
Yes,
trying to
we do.
increase uptake with our O&M teams and
Yep.
contractors, especially heat pumps. Is that something I could contact you on?
So in terms of, we absolutely will customize any training program. If, you know, there's some minimum requirements around number of people. We mostly do live virtual training, but we'll certainly also do in-person training, which we're happy to customize. Training around heat pumps is a little bit tricky, I'll have to say. We have the heat pump sales training, but also any of our other courses like heat loss, heat gain, air system design, commissioning. Those are all good courses for anyone in the space to take if they want to up their game. We're actually in the process of trying to figure out how do we get someone from, you know, being an expert around furnaces to being qualified to install a heat pump. So that's not a course that we actually teach at this stage of the game, although we are trying to figure out how to help the industry get from A to B.
Just a comment on that heat pump training, Natural Resources Canada and their LEAP team, LEEP, they're doing a lot of workshops and training and a lot of work right now around heat pumps and contractors and a whole variety of audience, not just contractors. So I'm sure may already be in touch with them, but I could help you if you're interested.
Yeah, we do work with them already. We have supported some of those LEAP workshops that usually go through HRAI to get participants in the LEAP workshops. And in fact, one of our instructors taught at one of those LEAP workshops. And they're fabulous. I mean, they're, you know, thinking about different ways to approach the way we design, for example. They're really great. So we do work with them fairly regularly, although it's a challenge to get them, you know. There's a lot of other partners like us trying to participate. So thank you. Anything else? Okay, good.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Lauralei.